Hi guys, this is Masa from the Great White North. So we're gonna check a new game called Vanquishers TCG. That's a sci-fi traded card game inspired from games like Destiny and Halo, Star Wars, stuff like that. Let's check the trailer. Yeah, that was really dope. So today we have a surprise. We have the whole team of Vanquishers with us, and we're going to learn about the game. So we have Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
So what's your role in this project?
All right, so with Vanquisher TCG, I handle the social media, the business side of the administration of Vanquishers TCG. So I'm the contact person if anyone ever wants to talk to us, ask about the game, has anything that they're not sure about. I'll be a first contact point when it comes to Vanquishers TCG. I'm also the co-creator of Vanquishers TCG originally.
I see. And so we have Charlie that is still muted. Hi, Charlie.
No, hey, what's going on? My name's Charlie. I'm actually the creator and the developer behind the Vanquisher TCG project. I'm also responsible for the designs, character illustrations, character creation, video marketing, ads, production designs and layouts, and much more, man.
and a cool PlayStation 5 in the back.
Oh, yeah, about that.
With a charger, that's good. And we have Jose. Hi, Jose.
Hi, I'm Jose, the web and app developer for Vanquisher TCG.
Yeah, because you guys have a really cool web page. We're gonna look through it a bit, but it's really nice.
Oh yeah.
And hi, Brandon.
Hey, what's going on? So I'm Brandon, and I do the majority of the game balancing for Vanquishers TCG.
Oh, so you're the fun police, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I am not the fun police.
And he comes and yells at us when we come up with new ideas.
No, that makes sense. All right. So, in a nutshell, if you have like 30 seconds, how would you explain what Vanquishers is?
All right, so when it comes to Vanquishers, basically it's a sci-fi hero based card game. You select your hero, you equip your weapons and armors, you use your abilities and activate your unique V trigger to vanquish your enemies. And that's the game in a nutshell.
So it's a 1 versus 1 battle between two heroes?
Yeah, so what I'll say initially, right now, the way the game's formatted, and as you see, it's Rift mode, which is a 1v1 hero versus hero battle.
I see. Okay, and we do have a giveaway for you guys. Let me show you how it looks. So that's this cool gun in foil, sparkly and shiny. You can see it in the dark, no, I don't know. And it's a ranged weapon, and we're going to learn, the different type of cards. And I believe this card is pretty rare, right? Guys, you told me there's only like 16 printed or something like that.
Only 16 in the world.
And yeah, so and there will only be 16 of these printed.
So the giveaway will be for one gun and the ammunition that go with it, because if I understand the game, you need ammunition with your gun to shoot. And
we're all about gameplay, so you gotta have your ammo for your weapon so you can play the game.
So like if you want to go enter the giveaway, you need to subscribe. You need to go to Vanquishers Discord. You need to be a member of that. I will put the link below, and you need to put a comment. That's important because that's how I can know who actually participate. And in the comment, try to say the name or describe a card that you think looks really dope in the game. Don't just say give me the promo, because like after it doesn't work. Alright, so let's look at this game. I'm gonna show the webpage again because I think that looks really good. I think the market right now is a bit saturated. There are so many. I think since Flesh and Blood became kind of something, and then there was MetaZoo that went through the Kickstarter process and that make a lot of money post Kickstarter. We see a lot of creators that go to Kickstarter or that try to create new games. Compared to like 10 years ago, we are having easily like 3 or 4 new projects per month. So knowing that, why are you still motivated to make a new trading card game?
Okay, so our game, just so that we know, we've been working on this game since 2016. So before all that fluctuation up and down was going on, we've had this game. So it was actually as a side project, an idea that I kind of came up with and ran it by Jason. Jason was like, yes, we definitely got something with this. We should definitely push forward. So as far as other games as being released and it being oversaturated in the market, we never really looked into it up until we started to release. So to even know that it was oversaturated at the time, we didn't really pay attention to that too much. But what honestly is keeping us going, and no matter what, whether if it was saturated or oversaturated, it's our passion behind the game, that we know we have something here that anyone that does play the game is going to love it, whether the market is oversaturated or not. And like I said, with it being a sci-fi niche, it's a very far in between market regardless. So we like to see ourselves separated from the entire competition out there or other games that play in their game, and in advance that way. That's essentially why we feel like now is a good time and best time ever.
Yeah, no, I think that's the only. A lot of creators are missing this aspect, I think, those days. But the only way that the project can succeed, and I'm not talking like just trying to get money out of Kickstarter, because it's not that hard to just get money out of Kickstarter, but you don't get really money in your pockets. It's not going to sustain your company. The only way a game can sustain is if you keep, straight with your core value of like what you want to do, and you don't try to satisfy people who will still want, every card to have high value and they don't care about the game, So like, I think the hardest part nowadays is not to succumb to the siren of those flipper and investors, I just call them flipper, who we just like, print just $5 and I'm gonna flip them for $1 million, So it's really important to have a team of people, who know what they want to do and I'm going to stay, straight with their project. So that's why I was asking you that. I was not expecting you to say we're going to try to make a lot of money in the Kickstarter and just escape. But I think
no. It's one I can guarantee you. Anyone that does interact with us knows that this is 100% passion. And the reason why we know we're going to last pretty much forever or for a long time, even after everything, is because we are those people. We do buy the games. We do collect the game. We are collectors, and so we know what it takes and what we would want whenever we are making this game by playing other games and collectibles and stuff like that. So I think ultimately this is what's going to keep us around for such a long time. And again, the passion behind this, when people do play it, they're going to feel it.
No,
I just want to throw in there too, just to say, like, gameplay is super important for us, and we want 20 years of people playing this game. Like, that's important to us.
Yeah, so I work with a local game store, and the Kickstarter, Project Life, if you go through Kickstarter like most company does now, this is just a tiny piece of a project, because it's not because, even if you get $1 million, it's not because you get $1 million in a Kickstarter that people will actually go in a shop and buy boxes or starter deck and play the game. That's completely different. That's different people too, and in the long term, what really counts is that people play the game. So I think for me, really, Kickstarter or whatever crowdfunding is just to allow you to go to reach those LGS or different distributors to actually get cards in people's hands.
To grow.
And nobody gonna spend like $1,000 to start a new game. You know how it is, like people come in a card shop and say, hey, do you have anything cool with guns or whatever? And they want to spend like what, $50 or max $100 to play with their kids and family, you know. So this is really a different market, and I think a lot of people nowadays, they kind of miss this aspect in their project creation. So I feel reassured that you guys are really looking for the game itself and not trying to make, you know,
quick buck and run. That's that. Yeah. Right.
Which TCG do you like the most, and which one inspired you?
At the time of developing the game, I was really playing a mobile version, which was Shadow Era, and that game was a mixture of hero-based and monsters, somewhat to like Magic the Gathering Commander or somewhere within that genre. I really liked that game a lot, and I started playing it very heavily around 2016 and 2015. And so there was a lot of love behind it. Like I loved the game significantly, but there was a lot of things I was like, man, if I was able to do something, I would do quite a few things differently. And it kind of sparked something in my head. And, and I decided, that monster-based system was cool. And we were playing Pokemon pretty heavily at the time as well. And I loved the summoning system when you summon your Pokemons out in the field, and the way you could retreat them, the way you have to arm the energies on them to allow them to utilize their abilities to be able to attack and target their enemies and stuff like that. So a lot of these mechanics were very cool. But again, even with Pokemon, had a couple of variables that I wish that could be a little different. And I guess a lot of that could be because I played so many different card games, different play styles, different mechanic systems. So I took a lot of the idea behind it, and I figured, I consolidated a lot of that and built our versus system with me and Jason polishing for the most part, and other inspirations put us together with like Final Fantasy VIII, their card game integrated. And I don't know if people actually played Final Fantasy VIII, but that little card game that you had to run around and collect the cards from the heroes and play that little card game was amazing.
Probably like one of the best parts of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, dude, I think I only played that game just for the card. In fact, it was the replayability was because
I
of that card game.
replayed it multiple times just to make sure I got all the cards. I hit all the
little
characters at the
miniature
right time, because you had to talk to certain people at the right time, or else you didn't.
Lost it forever for the rest of the game. Like the Bahamut cards and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean that aspect of it, the chase, the cool, that feel, the mechanic system was actually kind of cool with the variables, numbers matter. Where you put it on the left or the right will determine whether if you're going to conquer that card or not. And again, I know Risk isn't really a card game, but the strategic aspects of it, the way you got to get commander cards to complete certain missions, to be able to to be able to advance and get more units and things like that within that nature, a lot of that contributed into this game. And we were, in fact, that's how we all united. We all, every weekend, was getting together playing Risk on the table, pretty much. We were enemies at that time. Like, we weren't friends. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, what team are you? Don't cross my borders. It's on.
Yeah,
so we love that feel as a group.
I did see, like, in your games, there is a strong influence from board game in terms of, like, resource management and, like, the different... We're going to see a bit later how the games play itself. But it's kind of different. Like, it's... you have resources with little cubes and stuff like that. So I see that you guys probably have played some board games. And I was curious, like, obviously, like, it's very sci-fi, and you give me a strong vibe of Destiny. Are you, like, guys, like, really big Destiny fan, or, like, Halo fan, or, like, I don't know, Super Mario fan?
All right, so we will tell you how big fans we are. When Destiny was first announced, me, Jason, and a lot of our other friends bought the $100 or what was it, like $200 special edition. It came in a box.
I actually bought the one that came with the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, Jason even bought his whole PlayStation. In fact, he jumped into the genre through the PlayStation Destiny edition, and he also bought the special edition. So we ended up with the box, the ghosts, which I actually have the ghosts still back here. So yes, I mean, I'd be very ignorant if I told you Destiny was not a big contributor to the project. Absolutely. I mean, we love the space, and we've grown up with sci-fi within our background.
Just remembering Mass Effect.
Actually, I didn't play too much of Mass Effect, but I can see. I mean, I've seen a lot of illustrations of their artwork and their gameplay, and I could definitely see where that would fit in our universe as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, yeah.
No, that's cool. No, you know, like, so I'm not a big sci-fi. I don't like guns so much.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm not like a huge sci-fi fan, except when they have lightsaber on and like powers and stuff. And Destiny, that was, I like the vibe. Just like it was kind of too much time for me to play, you know.
Right.
But I did really like, you know, the vibes behind. So like coming back to business, do you guys have any experience in game development or in like any kind of business?
As far as the TCG, no, this is our first. Again, we are the collectors. You know, we are people that buy. We're the consumers. All right, we are the consumer base. So we've been that for our whole lives. But as far as on the other side of the coin, no, we've never actually gotten into the TCG business. So a lot of this we have been learning as we go. A lot of it's been research. A lot of research we have done, and believe it or not, a lot of it's been our community. Our community's been a huge contributor.
But like, do you have experience in like, I don't know, computer graphics? I see you have a lot of merch, so like, do you have experience in marketing or like, you know?
So I'll get you guys. Me, Charlie, and Jose have been business partners for a long time. Me and Charlie have actually, like, just to go back to like a question you asked earlier, and this will go back to like connecting us to now. When Halo first came out, we used to do tournaments at home with all our friends in the neighborhood. Just to talk about like being as a kid. But as we grew, me and Charlie actually ran a graphic design business. We used to wrap cars. Like when Fast and the Furious was really cool and all that, we used to wrap cars just like Fast and the Furious. We created designs and all that kind of stuff. We had a car team. Rest in peace to my Supra. Rest in peace to my 240SX. Charlie's Eclipse.
My Integra.
We used to wrap storefronts, make logos for companies. So we have a graphic design business mindset since we were teenagers. And then we also did a clothing line. So we know about the marketing and connecting with people. We actually had our clothing line really in Tampa area. A lot of people, when we had it out, a lot of people were really into our clothing line. We had a really good following with that. So yeah, marketing, business, acumen, and all that kind of stuff is stuff that we already have built into ourselves as businessmen when it comes to doing all those kind of aspects of the business. That's why everything looks good. Like Charlie knows how to, he himself learned how to make this guy breathe right now that you're seeing him breathe like that. He self-taught himself how to do that. Every graphic you see and every video you see, it's us on the field learning in time. So we just look at it like this. If we don't have the money to pay for somebody to do something, we're going to pay with our time and our hard work to learn how to do it. So everything you see, we've done from our past learnings in business to what you see now.
And like, I mean, I could really, so like now I understand, so you have a champion with some weapons and some powers and you battle your opponent. Why did you choose to do a trading card game instead of a board game or how it's called, a living card game, you know, where you have all the card in the box? Why you went to the trading or collectible aspect? Is that something just because you are collector and you want to crack packs and feel like it's special?
At the time, it was very personal. At the time, I was really into card games. Like that was what I was into at the time, other than video games, obviously. But I was into card games. We were into the trading scene again. We were playing card games, so we molded this entire build around that. But I mean, it's funny that you mentioned it about it being a board game, because the game, we actually do have different game modes. And the games are interlinked. So you're able to utilize what you have in one game mode to transition them into other game modes. So actually, one of the game modes that we have is called our Incursion. It's our board game mode. So we do have a board game mode that is kind of structured and mapped out. That is called the Incursion mode. So that's why a lot of these things you're getting that board game feel. It's because it is designed to be able to play in a board game setting.
And like when you say board game setting, do you mean like co-op or do you mean like PvE? Or is it secret?
He wants the details, huh?
So
Yeah, we kind of don't want to go into too much details of it, but yes, it will have moving parts, it will have moving pieces. So you will be able to use the pre-existing heroes, and they will have tokens that will that range would matter, distances would matter at this point. Certain weaponry, which we didn't really discuss too much about weapons, but there are mid-range, max range on weapons that will take effect in other game modes. It's not useful currently in the regular board game mode, but they will. I mean, the regular Rift mode, but they will be used in other mechanical systems down the line. Yes.
No, I just wanted to know if I can play solo. Because I like, every board game coming out there now, they have a solo mode because they know that people are grown up, that have kids, and they don't have time to play with their friends. So
yes,
right.
Yes, the board game mode. So to answer that question, yes, the board game mode will have a solo campaign that you'll be able to do.
Hallelujah, that's just what I wanted. But like all those games where I can't play them, like solo is just so easy, but at midnight, when the kids sleep, you can just, play by yourself on the table. This change, this change the value of
we understand.
Oh yeah, we understand.
We
Again, we are those people.
No, but like,
We are those same people.
Like, I don't want to play any game right now if I can't play by myself because, I mean, we can play with Discord, but it's always like, hey, like, honey, can you take care of the kids for the whole day because I'm going to play like a 10-round tournament, and like, it's heavy. Oh no, I wanted to ask you, where did you guys get money to make all that? Because,
Oh man,
back of a truck? Or?
Oh yeah, it's more like off of the back.
Yeah, so basically everything, we're like I always like to say to everybody, we're 9-to-5 Joes. We work 9-to-5 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
We make, our sacrifices for our families so that we can pay for this game to be funded, for us to play it. A lot of the beginnings of it, I funded the bulk of the costs and funds of it for us to be able to get to a certain point, not to this point exactly, but to get to a certain point. But yeah, it's out of our pockets. It's out of our blood, sweat, and tears. It's out of us clocking in and out and saying, I want an extra 5 minutes from this 15-minute break because I'm about to lose my mind type thing. So
because I think people don't really grasp how much it costs, but like, I'm assuming like you pay artists to make your cards.
No.
No, you do it all yourself?
So I'll say like this: 98% of all the artwork you see.
We're jumping into
us.
the next question, but yeah.
There's a lot of man hours in these cards.
Gosh.
So if you can trade out money for man hours, that's probably what we're looking at as far as investments go.
So there is a lot of sweat in it.
Yeah,
A lot of sweat.
Oh, a lot.
So now I'm intrigued. So let's talk about the art. And I'm going to show. This is for the giveaway. And here we have the two champions that I believe they are in the starter, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And actually, so like I was saying, it looks a lot like Destiny for me. And I like it, I never really like Halo. I think they look too bulky. I like more slim. Right. And I like in Warhammer 40k, I like the Elder, I like the kind of like mystic. I like the sci-fi mystic kind of idea. So like, I see that Charlie, that's you. Yeah, that's you. So you did that?
Yeah, I designed and laid him out. I actually did both cards. I know the bottom one of that one says promotional. I believe the one that we sent you was because for a variant, but the variant front. But yeah, I designed and laid out both of those heroes.
So so I have more question about art, but like, I forgot to ask you, like, who are those guys? Why are they fighting each other? Like, is there a story behind?
oh man, the lore itself is so huge. And since we are kind of on the topic of, I guess, the artwork, there's a story. There is an engagement between them two, of course, ice and fire. But yes, they're from two separate factions, two separate orders, and the order has fallen. And so now it's kind of a lawless world, and they are currently seeking each other out for the most part.
But like, why just one versus one? Like, why they don't grasp an army here?
Well, all right. So we're gonna, I guess we got to talk a little bit more in depth to this. So there was a fallout in the entire faction. So there's no longer the orders. There was one hero that ended up essentially absorbing all of the energy of their world, which is very catastrophic to the heroes in that universe because they depend on energy for their existence. So at this point, it became like a similar to a nuclear fallout, essentially, to where now it's like people are either fighting for lust, some people are fighting for power, some people are fighting just to survive. So some of the champions love this new world as it is broken, and they rather exist in these worlds, and others are trying to fight to sustain it back and get it back into its order. So this tyrant ended up taking all this power, taking the basically whatever force that was there at the time and stole them all and made an entire army of his own. These champions that were heroes in those separate armies are just kind of factionless. They still have a faction, but they're no longer part of that order no more, and they're just kind of surviving to basically restore what they have. So each hero do have their little backstories. They are very in depth, and the cards itself and the back of the starter box will include a little mini story in between both of them.
So they're sci-fi run.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, essentially.
Okay, that's cool. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope there will be some like art book or like lore book or something to learn more about the story. So we don't have those like cutscene like in video games. So
right.
It's kind of cool when you like tactical things to have those paper stuff. But so yeah, can you name some of the artists?
Absolutely. So Jason works on some of the artwork with weapons. I mean, he is working on heroes and stuff like that. And Jason's Yeah. So, and we do have, actually the first two heroes, the actual Vanquishers, the first two that we have, were redesigned by Hakeem Rafi, which is an actual illustrator that he works on AAA title games. So we ended up seeking him out, and he ended up making two characters for us, which are the actual two Vanquishers that are part of our universe. And we're currently in the talks and the works with Zip Allegria. We're actually in the talks right now and working on a comic to work on these lore stories, because we're comic collectors. I mean, as you can see behind me, I have comics on my wall and acrylic framing. So like we collect comics. So that's another vision that we would love to expand our lore stories in comic books. So
I see a lot of Charlie everywhere.
So if you go,
major bulk
when
of
you were
the artwork
showing,
is definitely me.
Yeah, when you were showing the website, the main character, Saigon and Cyber, those two characters on the website, those were done by
Hakeem.
Yes.
Hakeem Rafi.
So that's his artwork there.
This is just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And like, is there any other artists you want to work with? Like, is there any dream artist you would like to work with?
Yeah. I would love for Todd McFarlane to just stop by and say, hey, man, I would love to draw your characters. I would love for Frank Miller to be like, hey, man, I would love to do your comics.
Okay, yeah, so like the greeny kind of. I mean, if you say you like Frank Miller, you like kind of greeny kind of art.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you if there was like kind of magician in the game. Like if there was like some psi power or, stuff like that.
There's 3 different major classes in our universe. There's Sentinels, there's Assassins, and Conjurers. Saigon is a Conjurer, so he's essentially your space mage. What you're seeing, those 2 photos, is actually the singular card. So in our game, we have characters that V-trigger, and that's a feature in our game. So as I'm going to showcase this card right now, where I don't know if it's going to keep the focus. Hold on, let me try to get my face out there.
Yeah.
Oh, a little dark. So the singular side will be the hero itself, but once V-triggered, you actually take the hero and flip him over, and the stat values will increase, and then it's foiled on the other side here. So they flip on a V-trigger mode, increasing their stat values. So their stats actually increase. Their defense, their offense, and even sometimes their energy shield recovery will increase. So those typically come at a cost. So when the V-trigger is very important for the hero. So it is a single-sided card. I mean, it's a double-sided card, and the artwork slightly changes a little bit with more energy at rage of the hero itself. So that was a design work that we ended up putting together.
So like this one is an assassin.
Yeah.
Right.
So this one is a Conjurer. I just have his V-trigger here. So Conjurer are like magician kind of thing. Assassins are like, I don't know,
Assassins are pretty. Yeah. The gun is your choice. We leave a sandbox. So we essentially created a sandbox to you play the character out how you see fit.
How important is the choice of your hero to how you play the game? Like, can you use the same gun for different character, or like, does the game play completely differently if you play like Solaris versus if you play Veil?
So, kind of selecting your hero is just like it's part of the system, but ultimately the thing you want to, really spend time on is what weapons you're going to be using, what mods. That's going to be really important because that's going to really change the way you're able to challenge your opponent.
Like, do you have cards that are only for Veil or only for?
Yes. So they have hero items, and their hero items are bound to that hero specifically. And there is a slot on the board that is exclusive for their hero item that pertains to
and
the hero.
Each hero, so there's multiple hero items, but each hero will have a unique hero item that's specific to that character.
I see. And why did you choose to go like that and not go like MTG style with like or Pokemon style summoning an army of guys? Why did you decide to go like kind of like flesh and blood, really centered on your hero?
At the time, there wasn't games that were hero based.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. So we've started this back in 2016. So at the time, there wasn't a hero based card game, and it was very original to us at the time. And we felt like every game I played was a monster forefront. Everything's monsters until they're depleted. Then you lose your life points, and it kind of got repetitive. And we wanted to play something different. And this started off as a friend hobby type thing. It genuinely did, until we created something that was like other people started playing and enjoying. They were like, "Wow, this is actually kind of nice. We should, guys should go public with it." We had really no major intention to make it a huge game immediately until someone mentioned that to us, and we're like, "You know what? You're right. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens." And it kind of manifested itself into this. So we took a new idea at the time and manifested it into this, and decided to make it personal. It's very personal. You play a hero. Your objective is to defend your hero, not these monsters, not to throw a lineup of monsters to defend and offense. You actually got to arm your hero. You got to arm him. You got to equip them. You got to put armors on them. You got to defend them. You use ability cards to be able to evade and attack. I mean, we just wanted something that felt very 1v1. Like I want to go ahead and
like dynamic out. And like
very immersive, very immersive.
So you know what? You have an excellent tutorial. So let's have a look, and I'm gonna ask you a question while we look at the video on how to play.
TCG, a sci-fi hero-based card game. In this tutorial, we will review the standards.
Not you guys.
You start by selecting a hero. These are the things you want to be aware of. Hero class faction icons.
Alright, so that's what we talked about.
Energy shield points. Defense points. Energy shield recovery points. Energy class type.
Great job on that video, Charlie, by the way.
Oh yeah. And the voice is a very highly paid actress that yells at me a whole lot. It's my wife.
Nice voice. No, so like, okay, so that might look a bit intimidating, you have so many icons.
Yes.
But so this is life point.
Correct.
This is like shield points. Yes, that's kind of, it's like your armor. And defense point is like what you need to go beyond to actually do damage. And so this I'm okay with that. And then you have a lot of the card, but this is your hero, so like, I don't think this is so much to take care, because you're gonna play with this one a lot, I'm assuming. And all the heroes have this kind of same, those numbers and energy class type.
So they all have that same layout. They're all gonna look pretty much that exact layout. Only thing will different is is the names, the orders, the class. Yeah. Whatever their V trigger ability is.
So what happens? So when you flip it, so this is a flipped version, right?
No, that's the actual front. That's a standard front version.
We didn't flip it yet. Okay, we will flip it later. Let's
determine how many life points your selected hero has and place the red cube on the board. Your hero has 20 life points.
You put your life here.
Now determine how many energy shield points your hero has and place the blue cube on the board. Your hero has 20 energy shield points. Place the green storage energy point cube over the icon. This will need to be built up during the game.
Alright, so that's your kind of like every game in the resource system. So that kind of your mana or whatever. That's,
so yeah, that would be like your mana system.
Like that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, what happened?
On the board in the deck
commercial
slot.
break.
PlayStation,
you know, hey,
Player
look,
with the highest
PlayStation,
goal
know what's up
will
in
go
there,
first.
man. Come on, don't be disrespectful.
Start by drawing 7 cards. At the start of each turn, you will draw 1 additional card. To activate cards, you must meet the energy storage cost at the top left corner of the card.
Yes, what's the cost of the card?
To build storage energy points at the beginning of your turn, you must exile 1 card from your hand. After exiling, take the green cube on the board and move it over 1 point. You do not have enough points to activate any cards now, so simply declare end turn. At the beginning of your next turn, draw a card. Choose another card to exile and build up your storage energy points.
So this is a lot like Hearthstone, or you know, this idea that you can always ramp up every turn. You don't have to worry about having lands like in Magic.
Right.
But so one question I had here is like I see all those numbers like 5, 6. But if you go just one by one each turn, that looks like it's gonna take a long time until you can actually cast those cards.
It could take a little bit of time. This is where strategically building your deck is going to be very important. If you're that person that's trying to get all the top damage, high damage weapons, and high everything, yeah, it's going to take you a long time to even cast those out in the field. So this is where strategic build up and thought process of when and where you'll end up playing certain cards.
Now with enough storage energy points, you can activate the focus ability.
Alright, so you play a card.
Place it on the board in the ability
And we've
slot.
also added in, you know, we're talking about adding in modes where you can go up
You have
a
no
couple
other
storage points so you can just get right into the action. And that's actually what we do a lot when we're playing amongst ourselves.
Yeah, it seems like nowadays a lot of games
their action
move towards that, you know, like they want to skip the beginning. And they want to skip kind of the mana curve, and they just want like boom, you do all the big stuff from the beginning.
Right.
But no, I mean there is pros and cons. It's just
permanently losing.
I do like ramping up.
Refer to your hero card to determine how many shield points you can recover. This hero recovers
so you can
10
recover
shield points.
your shield by using energy.
Right. That's very critical. Very critical.
Now draw a
game.
card, exile another card, and continue building your storage energy points. Activate Energy Blast. This ability deals direct damage to the enemy. After the ability card has been used, place the card in the discard slot on the board.
So this is like an action, something like
Right, to kind of show you that
For
you can
this next
activate an
example,
ability,
we're going
deal
to
some
speed up the
damage
game a bit,
other
giving
than
you
with
7
weaponry.
storage
So
energy
skills can
points.
help deal additional damage to enemies. And much more.
At the beginning of your turn, draw a card. Activate the Phalanx Weapon card at a cost of 5 storage energy points.
big gun is coming.
This weapon requires 2 kinetic ammunition to use. With 2 storage energy points remaining, you can activate the 2 ammunition cards, meeting the weapon requirements.
So if I don't have 2, I can't use it?
Correct.
So it's kind of like a 3-card combo again. Like you need to have those 3 cards to do anything.
Right. You'll need to load your deck with quite a bit of ammunition. At default, starter decks typically come with 10 ammunition cards. A lot of those cards you want to utilize for storage energy build up too. You don't want to get rid of all your other good cards because you might want to kind of hang on to them.
Yeah.
You will get quite a bit of energy.
Discard them.
Correct. You want to use them as mana. Like you kind of want to use them as dual purpose. You want to use them to build mana,
So
and you also
can
want to
discard.
utilize them. Yeah, utilize them for weapon arming as well.
So yeah, oftentimes that's what we end up using to get our raise our resources is those ammo cards because there's just a lot of extra ones in the deck.
7 is your targeting.
So 7 is
Then
targeting.
determine the enemy's defense value. 11 is the enemy's defense. Now subtract your targeting value from the defense value, leaving the enemy with 4 defense remaining. Now roll the dice to meet or exceed the remaining defense value.
Okay, why is the dice? I have to ask.
Okay.
Why is there RNG here?
So the dice, this is what makes that intensity sweaty moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's that chance base that though I had the best cards and you didn't get your cards out in time, you didn't get your gun that you needed, though I have the gun of choice, there's still an opportunity to miss your target. So we played on the fact, and again, I played many card games. You throw a card out, it does what it does, that's it. You throw another card, and I've been in that situation plenty of times where I didn't have the card to defend, and I'm crippled no matter what. So any card they throw or whatever synergy I was hit with, I'm at the crippling mercy of hoping I get that one card, which in this game is kind of the same way. I don't want to say it doesn't eliminate that mercy, but there's still that possibility and a chance you may not get hit. You know, the targeting factor saved you on that round, but that player could still use that gun infinitely. As long as the ammunition, it could still use that gun on the next round. You can only fire the gun once per turn, as each weapon once per turn. So the dice mechanic system plays a dual role. The red die is our ability activation die as well. So certain abilities will require a die roll to activate. So if when targeting, in this example here, you know, you got your 5 on the red die, and then of course your 4 on the black. So the black die is just your traditional rolling die for targeting, and the red die is a dual purpose. So what if you would have landed your targeting, which in this case, an example, you've exceeded the targeting, you would deal the kinetic damage, which will show shortly. But with the red die, if you had any abilities that required a die roll for activation, if it's a 5 or greater, you would have been able to proc that ability as well.
I see. Yeah, so the damage is whatever number is here.
Correct.
And then...
You now deal 3 kinetic damage. Let's activate your V-trigger. This will allow you...
So the damage goes to the shield, not to the
Correct.
light?
All damage is applied to the shield first. Once shields are depleted, then it starts going into light.
To unleash your hero and weapons unique
Alright,
ability,
so we
but
go
it will
super
come at a
sage
cost.
here.
You will permanently lose those sources.
This is the moment you build up
Refer
for.
to your
This
hero
is where...
card to determine the cost. Flip your hero card over to signify that you have V-trigger.
Wow.
Now you can use the hero ability and all V-trigger weapon abilities.
So V-trigger...
So the guns also have...
The game ends when a player's hero loses all
which
of
makes
their
the
life.
Certain guns do have V-trigger abilities, yes.
Most guns.
Even if they have energy shield points remaining, this is still considered a defeat. Now you are properly equipped to vanquish
And not just guns, let's just put that at weapons. Most
weapons.
Most weapons. We don't want to just portray that to guns only.
All hero items will have a V-trigger ability.
Yes.
Alright, that was cool. So I have some follow-up question, and I'm gonna... So first, you know that the V-trigger looks cool. You need to make those kind of very shiny looking.
Oh, they are. Man, if you would see these... video will never show justice what these cars look like in hand. And you'll see when you get there.
Especially, you know, like those cars that you don't shuffle, you can really have like something really nice looking, because you don't have to worry about them looking exactly the same, or like you don't have to worry about damaging them.
Right.
And like, will you do what kind of foiling? Like, did you think?
So as of right now, we've looked at a lot of options, like as far as you know, well, we've been recommended a bunch of options, but currently we like the rainbow foiling, the traditional style currently, but we do plan on doing selective foiling and a bunch of other options that we're looking into. But upon release, I think for now we're just gonna keep to the traditional rainbow foiling the entire
down.
Right.
Yeah, it comes back to like us being collectors ourselves, and we grew up with TCGs. Like we grew up with Pokemon when it was just regular hollow foil. We want our community to feel that same experience with our game. Like in the future, there's going to be cards that come out that are going to grow and have more foil and gold lettering and all that snazzy stuff. But like the experiences, y'all are coming with us from the beginning and experiencing the growth and the change and the development.
I wanted to show you here, like we were mentioning bookkeeping. You have an app that
Yes.
take care of all the health, shield, rolling dice.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about bumping that by accident.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't tap the screen.
So, okay, so that's gonna be ready soon? I mean, I guess you don't have cards yet.
I am in progress of doing that right now.
But that would be cool if we could just like, also have a face of our hero.
Right, exactly. So pretty soon, once I have everything laid out, everything set up the way that I wanted to be set up, in the future we will be having those customized backgrounds, maybe your player that you want in the background, or some kind of other design that we create that it might be something special.
Yeah. No, I get it. So
and it also does have the dice roll feature in there.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you don't have to carry hardware with you.
That's kind of that's also annoying. Yeah, so that's a good idea. So like we talk about ammunition. Is that the same ammunition for every guns?
Yeah. So all ranged weapons will use that kinetic ammunition. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So like if you have like a lightsaber, do you need ammunition too?
No. Now there is another source of energy that we use that's called the Energy Cartridge, and that will and what all those other classed ones are, they're called subclasses. So if you actually took a look at the heroes real quick, the two heroes that you have on display, you'll see Cyber has the capability of utilizing all four weapon types, where these guys can only use two different weapon types, which is a ranged weapon and a secondary weapon type, which the secondary is a subclass. Where Vanquishers are not limited to what kind of secondary class they can use. They could literally use any class.
Yeah.
So that opens the door for them to be able to use hand-to-hand combat weaponry. That allows them to use critical art weaponry and also the melee weaponries. Yeah. And so all three of those subclasses will use the same exact energy type, which will be the energy cartridges.
Is this in selective falling wood? I'm just saying, that looks really neat. So like I understood the resource system. So like you put card from your deck into a pile, and at the end of the turn, it kind of refill itself.
No. So in our game, you've got to be very strategic. See, that's a lot flesh and blood. I guess their game, it constantly shuffles back and you can keep playing them. In our game, what you exile is gone permanently from the game. So and then what you use will be discarded. So there are ability cards that allows you to draw from the discard pile back into your deck, depending strategically how you build. But once your cards are depleted, you fall into a system that it's a decking situation is what we call it. And once you're decking and you don't have any cards to draw, or if you have the maximum amount of cards in your hand, you instantly lose life points for each card you cannot draw. So you kind of don't want to get caught in that situation where you don't have cards in your deck, or you have too many cards in your hands.
I see. No, I see. No, I was curious, on what can you do during your opponent's turn? So let's say you have 6 energy. Do you keep them? Like, can you block? Can you counter-attack during their turn? Or?
So if you play, you have to play certain cards. Certain cards will have abilities that will activate during your opponent's turn. So like counter shot.
There's Deflector Shield. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice prime example.
And then also trap cards. Trap cards will only be activated, while you're playing defense. So.
Because for me, that's kind of like the most important in a card game. I don't want to let the opponent play and I go get a drink and then it's my. I want to feel like I can interact. I think that's a key point.
Right.
Yeah, one of the cards that one of the builds I do. I'm a big defensive player, so I feel you wall. I build walls, and then I tell you come bring it on. And we have one gun, one pistol that is called the Mini Phoenix. It actually has it attacks back. So if you attack me while I have that weapon activated, you're gonna get damaged back.
Sweet.
You must be V triggered though. You gotta make sure that you V trigger, and again, V triggering comes with a cost. It's permanently losing resources to V trigger. So you had to have had the gun out and armed it to V trigger. So there is a strategy build. You got to get to this point to get to that V trigger to counter attack. So that gun will always counter attack 1 point back at anyone that targets you. So they're gonna gain punishment for every time they target you. That's a way to defend yourself. Trap cards, again, like Brandon just mentioned, is probably the most iconic way to defend yourself. And then again, we have armors. So armors is a very powerful way to defend yourself. So with armors itself will help mitigate any incoming damage, though they do have a durability cost count. So they can only take in so much damage before that card gets destroyed or that armor will be destroyed.
This one costs a lot, 7.
Oh, that's the axial armor, man. That's a very
heavy duty.
Very good.
So like, okay, when you play a game, I was curious, like, where do you get the excitement? Like, what makes you want to play the game?
What makes me want to play the game, or in general?
Yeah, like.
Okay, so in all honesty,
the game make you like smile or like feel like
that moment when you V-trigger. That V-triggering moment is like the endorphins go off in your head, like I've got you. Or you were getting your butt whooped, so bad that once you have V-triggered, it changed the entire tide of the fight. And we've had that happen shift so many times.
Yeah. So I think earlier, so you asked about the dice rolling mechanic, and then you also mentioned that I might be the fun police.
Yeah.
So, so one of the best parts is the dice mechanic, because towards the end of the game, a lot of times towards the end of the game, you kind of see where it's going. In our game, you can't really see where it's going because of the dice mechanic. You might try to hit your opponent and miss.
And that was critical.
And that'll leave you open to lose now. So there's been plenty of games where it's come to the very end, and Charlie has missed me a couple times, which allowed me to come in and steal a victory from him. Just because I'm able to mod my weapons and have better probabilities and all that. So it's the dice mechanic is really important in keeping that randomness of are you going to defeat them or not.
Yeah, people think while you're playing the game, you think you have them. You really do. Like, you're confident. You have all the cards in your hands. Your weapons are out. You're targeting. You're dealing good damage. They're getting weakened. You're forcing them to destroy storage energy points to build their shields back up. And they're put in a crippling situation where now they're using resources to keep themselves alive rather than playing cards. So you put them in a tough situation.
Yeah.
But then they V-triggered, and then it changed the whole dynamic of the fight. And that has happened multiple times. Our unique V-triggering system in our game is the iconic moment. That's why I would play my game consecutively. And then on top of that, like Brandon mentioned, the dice system, our versus dice mechanic system.
I see. And like, how long do you think a game takes? Like, it doesn't look like it's a 5-minute game, like from what I grasp. So how long?
No, it's not a 5-minute game.
Not a 5-minute game, no.
I'll just say originally in 2016 to 2018, our gameplay was a good hefty few hours.
We put in a lot of time and effort to trying to figure out how to bring that time down a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, our standard mode, the mode that we're trying to have everyone learn to play the game to get down the foundations of the game, 45 to an hour at the most. 45 is our sweet spot, basically, 45 minutes. But an hour at the most for the standard mode.
So then
that's
right,
and that's assuming you know your deck. Like, you gotta have obviously knowledge of the game, and you have to know your deck and how to play your hero. With knowledge, will be about 45 to an hour. New person jumping in, of course, there's always that learning curve. They gotta understand the game. They gotta understand the mechanics. That time can vary, but we base our time frames based off experienced players that know their decks and know their hero.
And how many heroes do you have planned right now?
Okay, so on release, I really don't know who's supposed to answer that, but on release for the first series will be 5. There'll be 5 heroes.
5, all right. So we saw 4 already. So. Correct.
There's definitely a hidden one.
Okay. And all right. So I guess you're not going to tell me what is a hidden one.
Well, if you watch the older state of the games, man, you'll sneak peek on an old art of that fifth one. So and he is kind of people that played with us at the beginning phases during Tabletop Simulator have gotten the pleasure to play with that character, and he's definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah, they
Again,
want them out. That's all they ask on the.
Yeah, we stress. There's 3 classes. We've showcased the assassins, and we've showcased the conjurers. So there's a sentinel class. So that's the.
But like, do you have plan to have other classes?
So yes, we've had some discussion, which nothing is final. We do plan on having more classes in the game. So we're not finalized with the idea. We're open to ideas of still expanding the classes.
It's important to keep things fresh, you know.
Right, right.
So you can't just change a number. It's just like then just one. So,
right.
All right, maybe we will see Cable, a crossover with Marvel. We're gonna see Cable, like young Cable and old Cable.
Nate Gray. You might see Nate Gray. You never know. You never know. Stay tuned. Stay tuned with the Vanquishers. You know.
Might be expensive for the IP. Do you have any plan for organized play?
Yeah. So those tournaments currently on Tabletop Simulator, we're planning on hosting tournaments through Tabletop Simulator, kind of beta testing it, to seeing how well it works and organizes. And we do plan on definitely doing physicals and locals. We've done it as kids. We used to play Mage Knights, and the fun. Night. Oh yeah, we were very big on that. That was tournaments.
So let's look at where we are now and what's the plan. So on your webpage, you have this nice roadmap. January is finished, February is almost finished. So it says you launch a Patreon. So a bit of advertisement here. So you have your Patreon. Can we start to get physical cards through Patreon, or when can we start to get cards?
Okay. So with Patreon, so at the core of this, our gameplay is most important. We grew up as kids. Literally, me and Charlie would have to share our money together to be able to get the Mage Knights, to get the cards, to play the tournaments and work together, right? A lot of people didn't come for a lot of means. So really, the Patreon for us and wholeheartedly is to help us develop the game. I know a lot of people use it as a storefront. A lot of people use it as a way to offer their Patreon something special. And we understand that aspect of it. And we want to do that. So we still want to keep our tiers. Our tiers on Patreon is $1, $5, and $10. We want to keep the tier there. We want to keep those tiers at that price point because we wholeheartedly, it's for the love of the game and for the love of the culture. We don't want to hit anyone's pockets like crazy or anything like that for something promotional.
It's toxic when you have to pay like $100 for Patreon. But actually you are just buying some cards. So no, I just, because some people, like, I want to have some cards, just.
But the caveat to that, what I'll say is, because we understand the other side of the coin. So what we are going to do is, everybody who is a patron at our top tier, $10, we're going to be having flash promos. So if you're one of our patrons at the $10 tier, we're gonna send a direct link to our Patreons and saying you can purchase this promo or sample card or special Patreon card directly from our website, directly from us. And it gives you the choice, so you can still just support us at the $10, or you can buy this special card that we give you the option, or this special. We have other things that are special that we're working on, other than cards. I ain't gonna get into. A lot of late nights till 5 a.m. dealing with the other side of the world. But we want to give an option that's wholesome. We want to give you an option where if you want to get the promo, you want to get that item, you have the choice to get it, but you're still subscribed and genuinely helping us develop the game.
Okay,
that's the route we want to go with Patreon.
That was February, March. You want to grow your community, finalize physical card game. I guess that means more like what kind of printing and stuff like that.
We're actually we've been moving on to another company actually that's really been very cool, and we've actually placed a big order on a lot of their stuff to physically get some stuff in to do quality control. We're huge on quality control. I refuse to put anything out that I have not physically touched, seen, and touched that met to our expectations to you guys out there. So I refuse to do so. If it doesn't meet our expectations, we are not going to send it out. We have to move on to the next phases.
April is when you're gonna start to order kind of like review and work on how to launch the project really, and May you keep growing. I mean, I do like that we don't try to rush too much. I find it horrible Kickstarter that are too rushed, with no like preview of the product, with like not enough information, no feedback. So I mean, it's not a race. It's like really not a race.
And I like that you mentioned that, because that's the way we look at it. We're working things at our pace, honestly. Like Jason mentioned, we have 9 to 5s. We have kids, we have families that we're raising, so we're trying not to rush it at all. And anyway, in fact, a lot of updates are going to be coming to the version. So it should be coming soon. Yeah, for the roadmap, a lot of updates. So we do update it as well.
Yeah, of course. And so my understanding is like, before actually the product hit Kickstarter, the game will be reviewed enough. You will send, hopefully you will send me some stuff to review, but like people will give feedback. It's not like, oh, I have this idea, I want to do that, just give me money and I will make it real.
Right.
When you look at board game on Kickstarter, you always have at least like 3 or 4 reviews. I mean, it's normal. Like, I feel now the FOMO is just so important that just you would put anything on Kickstarter and say, well, there is 1,000 bucks printed. And like people would just pay 10. Even
jump all over. Yeah, just because. Yeah, just only one, and he has like 50 of them in his backyard.
Yeah, it's like, so I do like this app. It's much more like a really board game or / like game focused, more than just pure like getting money or like the collectible. The collectible part, it comes with it. Like you're not gonna sell 1 billion boxes anyway.
Right.
The collectible part is like, okay, yeah, there was those people who wanted to play the game at the beginning, and then the game grow, and then that become precious. Like, I don't like when people just make like fake rarity, or like, no, you can't play the game. No, I'm not gonna let you get any card. Like, I mean, seriously, like right now it's like that. Like,
are you serious? People are like that right now? That's crazy.
Yeah, like a lot of, well, not a lot. Some Kickstarters, they just leave it. They say, all right, we're gonna do like 1,000 boxes, and like it's sold out in 5 minutes, and then thanks for coming. And like, what's the point? Like nobody play, and like it's gonna be so valuable, and nobody want to open them, and like it's just like it's worth nothing. It's like Uncle Scrooge kind of like swimming in his coin, and like not doing anything with it. There is no point in that.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, no, and then so I think like during summer you want to try to work on the Kickstarter. And then I'm assuming, you want to really try to ship for the holidays, and like I see first expansion layout. So you have already planned for another expansion, or like for an expansion?
Yes, we do have an idea for the expansion to the series. So that series itself will have an expansion piece to the actual series. So we do have. We're working on the R&D of it, making sure that we're getting it structured, finalizing some more artwork to make sure. Oh man, listen, you never know. Hey, you never know. You Patreoners, you never know.
Okay. Cable on Deadpool. Actually, like this girl could be a Deadpool. What's her name? I forgot.
Cyber.
Yeah, she would be a cool Deadpool.
Yeah, she'll give Deadpool a run for his money.
Like this is Cable and this is Deadpool, That's good, man.
We skin them, right?
Yeah.
I guess
Disney,
when they're
no
fighting, they would
to
definitely
do
have
that.
the same mentality. So
no intention to do that, Disney. Don't get us.
No, we are just kidding here. But no, I'm really happy by what you mentioned about like solo game and PvE, because if you think about it, I don't know how you guys play test, but at the very beginning when you play test for something, most of people play by themselves, because you need to see how things go. And if a game can be good when you don't play against somebody, it's going to be even better when you play against somebody. So it's really hard to make a good solo game. And so big respect, like Mage Knight and all those other board games that are good at in solo. So when you say that you will have some type of solo mode,
so since you know Mage Knights and those that just know
shout
our
out to you
board
for
game.
knowing Mage Knights.
Yeah,
Shout
we don't
out
get
to
very
you
many
for
people that
knowing
know Mage Knights. So think of the dungeons. a lot of our board game and even the other modes going to be a lot like similar to what Dungeons is like in our board game mode. So, and then of course there is an incursion mode that we haven't talked too much about that is more raid boss like Final Fantasy. How you fight raid
Acolyte
bosses.
mode.
Acolyte. I apologize. Acolyte mode. So we do got a bunch of game modes that are different for every person. You know, I got friends that only play board games. I got friends that only play card games.
Yeah.
You know, Brandon was a board game player, 100%. Every day would come by, 100%. Play board games, and has a percent. Yeah, and then this idea sprung out, and he decided to start playing card games, and this is what brought him into the project. And honestly, he's loved it, and I'm so glad he did join in, because him being a novice entry into this card games had millions of questions to a point where he became the game balancer, where he decided to balance the game out very well because he was that person that knew nothing about games. So he
for your
tries
average
to
trading
break it
card
down.
game guy, they were like, "Oh, I already understand this. I already understand that." And I'm like, "Oh, you need to explain this to me. Explain that. Well, why do you do this? Well, why would you do that?" Or you know.
Because for me, like, I always feel like board games are so much more advanced than trading card game. Because trading card game more or less just recycle Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, you know, where board game always have a lot of innovation in it, and most of them it's very solid. You know, some are like kind of wonky a bit, but you know, like there are tons of good board game on Kickstarter that never see retail, but they are very good. So I always, you know, I have a huge respect. Like if you would take like a card game that is just good for collectors, and you would make a board game out of it, that would be like garbage. Like, you have to think about it. Like, a board game you play because it's good to play. And I feel like if you want to have a good trading card game, it has to be as good. So if you can make a game that is good against, like for PvE, well, like that's kind of a board game mode, that means the game is well designed. So that was what I wanted to say. Alright, so let's try to summarize a bit. I will put this nice animation. So, you have a TTS version of the game with 2 starter deck, I believe, right now. So you can either click here or you go to Steam and you download the Vanquisher workshop. I think it's called workshop. And we will have a video on that. And it's really well polished. I check it, it's really nice. So the physical game is going to be released through Kickstarter for the first stage, and maybe end of summer or something like that. We will see the exact date, but there is nothing right now to purchase, except those cool cap and t-shirt and hoodies and stuff.
And them posters, Jose, how was that Saigon poster, man?
That Saigon poster looks
really nice.
Great.
Yeah.
I have a lot of posters, so I mean, I don't have place anymore. Posters are cool, but you know. But I do like the hoodies and stuff, that's really cool. And the game is strongly sci-fi inspired. We will have a lightsaber, we will have like psi power, or conjurer, what you call. And each player choose a champion, they have their gun, they have ammunition, and they fight each other. And the game lasts maybe around 45 minutes to 1 hour. So it's not like a very fast 5-minute game, and it's very strategic. That's my understanding.
Yes.
And and if you guys want to get physical card, we still have to wait. You can have with a giveaway, but I'm assuming like coming to the Kickstarter, you will have some promos here and there. So that's why it's important that to join Vanquisher Discord, and hopefully we will have some cards to show you guys. Yeah, that's kind of all for this video. Thanks a lot, guys. Do you have any last word? Anything you want to say?
We do the tagline.
We do the taglines. All right. So,
Vanquishers.
Brandon, what do we got to hit, Brandon?
Also, we always tell everybody hit that bell icon so you can stay notified.
Like, share, subscribe, and until the next interview, Vanquishers out.